Hey, this is Greg, and I'm here with Todd Baker from Todd Guitars. And last time we did a video, we were talking about setup of guitars, and then we just kind of realized halfway through the video how I went for the quick fix and didn't really get a setup. So I brought the beast here today, and we're going to give it over to Todd and get this thing set up today for real. I'm going to let him get started with checking out my guitar and kind of giving me a rundown on what the problem. I know for a fact these tuners are the stock ones and they're pretty crappy.
Yeah, so basically when I take a guitar in and I've got a customer in the shop, the first things that I'm looking at is the frets. So I check the relief in the neck first. And it's got quite a bit of relief, more than I would put in it. So
what do you mean by relief?
So relief in the neck is most guitars have a truss rod that run all the way through the neck. And there's a truss nut at the top here, and you either give it more relief or less relief. And what that means is if you give it more relief, there's going to be a bow in the neck. If you give it less relief, you straighten out the neck. So typically you want to see about 10 to 12 thousandths underneath your strings if you fret at the first at 15 or 16 and come in and tap on your guitar there. That'll tell you how much relief in the neck that you have. Tapping on that string will let you know how much bow you have in your neck, or if it's touching in the middle, then you don't have any, and you should probably have a little bit of relief. And that gets down into mathematics and sciences and how strings are set in your bridge and your nut, and we won't go over that, but most of the time you want about 10 thousandths to 12 thousandths underneath your string to the frets. This is a little high. What I'm going to do is just play it first to see if I'm getting any fret buzz or dead notes. So I'm getting some noise in here.
Kind of sounds like a muted note or something.
Yeah, a little buzz.
Yeah, I hear it.
More than I want. Now, some of that is going to be coming from this saddle as well. It's a cheaper guitar. It's got a cheaper saddle on it. And a lot of time you get, these aren't milled properly. So they tend to move and rattle in the slot there. And without doing a bunch of work, it's really not worth going through it. That's what you get.
Of course, I never play up there. I don't play leads.
So I will say that this needs a fret level. I just want to make sure. I'm going to check it. Typically, 99% of the guitars out there that are bought and need fret work done. That's the most important thing. Second most important is your nut here. Like we discussed in the last video, everything depends on the cut in the slots of the nut, how well this nut is seated in here. If you have any air gaps or it's not sitting properly in there, causes tonal issues. So we're going to put a bone nut in here, and I'm going to check the radius of the neck when I get the strings off, but right now I'm going to just see what the radius is looking like on here. and it's off. And I can see that it's off, and we're going to fix that as well. And what I'll do is I will cut each of these slots on the saddles for the individual string gauge that's going on this guitar. I think we're going to put 10s on it. So basically, I will also check all the pots and the switch, and I will adjust the pickup heights so they're even and they're set properly.
I redid all electronics.
It
should be solid.
I know, but
you do what you do.
Here's who I'm working with. Okay, most of the time I don't get this guy in the shop.
Yeah, mine's all got silver wire, Teflon jackets.
Whatever.
It's all super pro on the inside.
Right, but I can already see that the pickups are not sitting properly.
Yeah, I don't
and
do that part.
We'll even that out. So basically, I'm going to do a full-on fret level crown and polish with a brand new bone nut that fits properly. I can see that there's, I kind of want to show you people if I can. I don't think it's going to pick it up, but there's an air gap. I can already see a gap in the nut here, which
that's so I can air guitar.
Causing issues. It's all causing issues. Once this guitar is set up properly, it's going to play, in my opinion, it's going to play like a top dollar guitar.
Well, we're going to set up the time elapse so you can see it in fast time, because otherwise you'd be watching the video for hours.
4 hours.
Okay, so, all right, well, we'll see you in a bit. Bye.
On your back. Boogie on your back. Boogie on your back. Boogie on your back. And I need this like I need myself a heart attack. And there's nothing said but don't wear. Oh, don't you disappear. Boogie on your back. Time you wanna live and you know it's raining your fear. Boogie on your back, boogie on your back. Got a boogie on your back. And you need that like you need yourself a heart attack. Boogie on your back. Boogie on your back. Stopping if you don't live, if you don't see the light of the day, and you see there's nothing left. Boogie on your back, boogie on your back. Got a boogie on your back, and you need that like you need yourself a heart attack. Boogie on your back. Boogie on your back. Wake up in the morning and the sun is kinda shiny, but I just can't get my mind off you. It's been a hell of a day. Feeling alright, but I just won't play the fool. Take you away, take you away. Can't take you away from you. Take you away, take you away. I can't take you away from you. 2 cups of coffee and an old cigarette. Then I heard my song on the radio again, but she's so strung out. What to do, because I just won't play the fool. Take you away, take you away. Can't take you away from you. Take you away, take you away. Can't take you away from you. Wake up in the morning and the sun is kinda shiny, but
So as you saw, we did the video of the time lapse. It looks like, Todd can work 1,000,000 miles an hour. And just to give you reference, each minute in the time lapse equals an hour of actual work. So you could see there was a lot of stuff that he had to do to get it to that point. And I did just play my guitar, and wow, it's like a totally different guitar. I honestly am going to have to take a moment to get used to it. It went from, just feeling like something I thought was pretty cool to now I feel like it's not going to get in the way of what I do. It's not that I'm some good guitar player or anything, but it's going to actually make me want to play more because it feels so much better. And let's check it out.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were off. And I think that I went over most of them at the beginning of this. Okay, so I ended up doing a fret level. I put a new nut in, and I radiused the saddles, which it needed, You'll be able to hear, like if you heard the beginning, there was a bunch of buzzing going on. Like all the frets are level, right? So I'm not getting any choke notes, no buzzing, no nothing going on. It's all perfectly straight, which needs to happen, right? Like that's the most important part, especially up here. You're doing a lot of chording up here, right? So you want those notes to ring true.
You can hear the noise from my bridge, which is still the cheap original bridge, and that'll be the next video. We'll come in and get that done and see what that's, what that kicks up level-wise. And I'm kind of glad we're doing it in stages so people can see, like, what they're paying for when they go to a shop, what it is, how it kind of gets... Because the first time we went through it, I'd had a real quick just kind of straighten the neck and do barely anything, which is your typical setup most shops you go to. And it's not saying every shop does that, but when you go in and pay the under $100 fee, that's just a lot of times what you're getting.
Yeah.
And
yep. And that's what I gave you because I think
I was
working a lot and you didn't have any dough, so I just set the guitar up for him. Cut in the nut.
Yeah, you did the quick fix.
The quick job, right? And he never brought it back, so now was the time. I also put in some Clusen tuners for him.
Which they look beautiful with the green.
Yeah, with the green. And I messed with the pickups just a little bit. This guitar really surprised me, actually. The way that it came out. And now I need a freaking tuner.
Oh, that's alright. See, Todd's used to being backstage with some band and having all his setup there. So he's got to tune something.
I for this guitar is like $100 guitar. And I tell all the parents that come through here, it doesn't matter what you buy, as long as it's comfortable for whoever's going to get the guitar. As long as it's comfortable, you bring it in to a professional, let them do the work, the frets, the nut, the saddle, and get it set up correctly, and it's going to play like a $5,000 guitar. And that's no shit. Like, this plays just as good as any PRS, Gibson, whatever high-end guitar. This thing plays like that. So you don't need something that is that expensive. You buy what's comfortable, what sounds good to you, and bring it into some professional. And if they treat you right, you're going to get a guitar back that plays like it should, like any guitar should, really.
I think it's important to have a guitar that you really like because, like, I toured with a band once, and one of the guitar players will remain nameless at this point. He'd go into Guitar Center, he'd get his picture taken, Polaroid, with a bunch of different guitars, and he'd go home and pick out the one he liked, then he'd bring it back and he'd buy it and he'd take it to the guitar tech and go, make this work. And, you know, this is a big musician that plays, you know, in front of a lot of people, and that's the way he likes to pick guitars. So sometimes you just got to pick what you like and then get it up to par.
Yep. Thanks, Grady. This has been awesome, dude.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
totally stoked on how well this came out. Really,
I'm excited to play it. And I say we come back at some point and do a third video with the bridge. And,
yeah, dude.
I feel lucky to have you working on my stuff. So
yeah, man.
I'll put a link in the description about Todd and what he's up to, and you know, you can kind of check all that out. All right,
Thanks, guys.
take it easy. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. Bye.